Hello everyone, this is Gene and I'm back with an impromptu video. But I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to try to upload it as soon as I'm done because I don't want to linger on it, but I have to admit, this has gotten me pissed off, right? So this is just like peak Twitter, right? I'm at work, so I can't make videos the way I usually would. Once the video uploads, I will add links, assuming that I'm not blocked or anything after this video. But I just want to explain what's happening. Right. First of all, look at my hair. My hair is awesome, nice and thick and fluffy. This is like 5 months of growth. I got my hair cut like in June, and now it's like November. So this is what happens when I don't get a haircut. But anyway. So I saw this article from Bounding into Comics about how Angelina Jolie was referring to people as ignorant, right? So what happened is that there's this article from Bounding where they report on Angelina Jolie calling people who may have an issue with the sexuality or the homosexuality in the Eternals film ignorant, right? So I go through the comments and I find Andy Signore, right? Blue check. I don't follow people all that much, so I don't know what he's famous for, but according to his Twitter, he's a dad, something called Popcorn Planet. I guess he reviews films and whatnot. Daily News, Popped and Loaded, and Honest Trailers, Screen Junkies, right? So, you're a usual media person, I guess. So, Andy had a tweet where he shared her full quote for context, right? And the full quote, and I'm looking at Andy's Twitter right now, says, this is the part that he screenshotted and shared. So it says, as reported by Australia's news.com.au, Jolie said, I'm sad for those audiences, and I'm proud of Marvel for refusing to cut those scenes out. Which I think is an interesting statement considering that from last I saw, Disney has now amended their stance on not editing the film, not editing the controversial elements out for Middle Eastern nations, right, who are not in favor of homosexuality, right? They flat out ban it, right? So apparently Disney's now going to create an edit of the film, I should say, to air in those nations. So it's one of those things where, they kind of make Angelina look silly with her comments when they go and do this, right? But this is not her fault. Here's the thing. She continued, I still don't understand how we live in a world today where there's still people who would not see the family Fastos has and the beauty of that relationship and that love. How anybody is angry about it, threatened by it, or doesn't approve or appreciate it is ignorant, she concluded. Now, without getting too deep into it, because I was thinking about doing a separate video on her comments, but to make a long story short, while I may in general agree with the tone of her comments, like I don't find it offensive, I'm not bothered by it, I don't care about this movie, right? I do feel that it is ignorant of her to make such a statement because she doesn't know the rest of the world. She doesn't live in the rest of the world. The rest of the world does not share Western values. Literal wars have been fought throughout history, right? In our very not too distant history, right? Over values, right? Western values, non-Western values, right? All this stuff. You cannot expect the world to see things as you do, Western actress, right? I'm not saying you have to agree with the more traditional or conservative or backwards, whatever term you want to use for it, views of other nations or religions or anything else. All I'm saying is that you do not help yourself. You don't help your cause by calling people who have different viewpoints on this than you do ignorant. It doesn't exactly make people want to talk. As a religious person, I can tell you, right? If I go and I tell everyone, right, you ain't living right? Your way of life is offensive to God. Repent. no one's going to want to listen to me, right? People don't want to be shamed. People are more likely to want to hear you if you can be respectful of their viewpoint, even as you disagree with it. Look, for example, at Daryl Davis. This is a man who has literally talked people into leaving the Ku Klux Klan. How did he do it? By being respectful of the person, even as he strongly disagreed with the views. There is a way to strike a balance here, right? But moving on. So what happens is this. So I retweeted Mr. Signore, and I said, I guess Miss Jolie, Angelina Jolie, is going to have to mind her words given that Disney has decided to edit the film for Middle East nations, meaning Middle Eastern. More importantly, calling people ignorant because they don't share your beliefs, views, just makes them defensive and less likely to hear what you have to say. That's all I said. I said nothing about homosexuality or homophobia or anything like that. I just literally said, right, that calling people ignorant, calling people names because they don't see things the way you do, does not help you. Right? That was my only message. So Andy's response to this is, when is homophobia okay and wise? Gotta challenge you there, man. Someone tell him that I'm not a man. I know I look like one with the short hair, and I know the name is a bit misleading because it's unisex, but I'm not a guy. It's an ignorant belief to be against gay people. I know, and I'm not. Love is love. No one's forcing anyone to kiss anyone. Let people buy a ticket or not, banning homosexuality is not just an opposing view, it's wrong. Okay. So I responded with, it's not a viewpoint you will change by calling people names, man. So you can see that he's already jumped on the homophobia part, right? This is the part he wants to argue, right? I'm on the part of shaming people does not help with your cause. If you're looking to change a person's mind, shaming their current viewpoints is not going to help you. He wants to argue a point that I already know. I never said a damned word about being homophobic or anti-LGBTQ or anything. So then, after my tweet about you don't change a person's viewpoint by calling people names, he responds with, you are offended by the term man being used generally, and you support homophobia. This man jumped 100 sharks. He did mental gymnastics that would make an Olympic gymnast envious. Andy, tell me how pointing out that shame does not change a person's mind has anything to do with homophobia or me being in support of it. You are leveling an accusation against me that, number one, is untrue. I have no issue with gay people or homosexuality, right? Live and let live. I don't give a damn. Okay? Right? And yes, I have an issue with the term man being used generally, but I'm speaking to someone who doesn't know me. Especially someone who's going to automatically assume I have a certain position, which I have not discussed or mentioned, right? I have an issue when someone who's being a jerk toward me uses the term man. My friends can call me man. My friends can call me dude. I don't care. I care when someone who doesn't know me and who says a falsehood about me, Andy, calls me a man. I get it. Short hair, masculine appearance, unisex name, but I'm not a dude. And more importantly, you've pissed me off. So no, you don't get to call me man. Like the old Janet Jackson song, right? Use my name. Miss Gentry if you're nasty. Right, so then, I retweeted him. And I said, Andy, when did I tweet anything that was supportive of homophobia? Pointing out that shaming people doesn't change their minds isn't homophobia. read what I typed before responding to me, please. Would you like it if I refer to you as ignorant for misgendering me? And I mean that, Andy. Would you appreciate it if I called you ignorant? Would you appreciate it if I shamed you? Right? Would you want to talk to me? Because I sure as hell don't want to talk to you. But would you want to talk to me if I said, Andy Signore is an ignorant, misogynist, white male? Oh, you don't like that? You don't like being shamed? You don't like people coming to false conclusions about you? Guess what, Andy? Neither do I. You see, the problem is that you have now closed all lines of communication. There's nothing to talk about now because you have insulted me. I literally tweet how insulting people does not help with the conversation, and you decide to jump the shark for some reason, I don't know why, and insult me by accusing me of supporting homophobia. But I didn't say a damn word about my views on homosexuality or sexuality in general. If you wouldn't want it done to you, Andy, what's the golden rule, right? Do unto others as they would do unto, or right, do unto others as they would do unto you, right? If you don't want me to use inflammatory, insulting, hurtful language that is untrue about you, Andy, if you don't want me to refer to you as ignorant, or name and blame and shame, perhaps you shouldn't do it towards someone else. Perhaps you should not try to accuse them of supporting homophobia when you have no idea what their views on homosexuality or anything else are. Maybe this would have gone better had you tried to have a conversation with me. But alas, you have screwed up. You took something that was simple, something that was actually, I thought, a positive. I thought I was sharing something positive, right? Saying that, hey, shaming people doesn't change people's minds. But apparently, this simple fact of life is deeply offensive to you. So I hope you have a good day, Andy Signore. But most importantly, right, don't talk to people. If you, Mr. Signore, do not know how to have a conversation with other people, if the first thing you're going to do the moment you encounter a position you think is offensive to you, and the first thing you're going to do is say that the person you're talking to supports homophobia, well then, sir, perhaps you should not speak to people. Perhaps you need to take a class or two about how to address people respectfully, how to have a conversation about difficult topics and be respectful toward others without being an insulting jerk, which to me is exactly what you were. I didn't say a word to you. I retweeted you, right? But my words were not directed at you. They were directed mainly at Jolie and her comments. But you decided to take it all personal. So I decided to respond, to give a lengthier response than what Twitter can typically provide. I hope you have a good day, Andy. Have fun with your kids. And be better. Learn from this. Maybe next time, try to not insult someone who was not insulting you. Have a good day.